How was your guys' ride over here?
It was good. It wasn't too
Good.
bad. Yeah, I thought it would be more traffic, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, traffic. He had a conversation with a seller. I was telling you about this before, but essentially, like she's listed above fair market value, and she doesn't understand that if she sits on the market for for a long period of time, she's gonna get less than what the fair market value would be if she had that adjustment. So, trying to get her to understand that, hey, if we make that adjustment now, we might be able to get you the highest and best price moving forward. So she agreed to a 2,500 adjustment. So it's a
There
start.
you
We got it somewhere.
Price improvement.
Yeah, step in the right direction.
Yeah.
How would you say, like, if you're a realtor and you have a house listed, how long does it sit before you're like, hey, like, let's have a reduction? Like, how do you bring that conversation?
Mm.
And usually, like, how often do you bring that up?
So I try to bring that up at the listing appointment, and that's a conversation that at the listing appointment I'll say the National Association of Realtors has this statistic report that they come out with that a house that sits on the market for 2 weeks. The house that sits on the market for 2 weeks and has 10 or more showings or less than 10 showings and no offers is considered technically above fair market value or overpriced. So this at the 2 week mark, if we find ourselves that we've had 10 or more showings or less than 10 showings, then we're gonna have to have a conversation about adjusting the price.
Adjusting price. How does that conversation typically go? Like, do you think more times than not, sellers are like, absolutely not, this is the price I want? Or sometimes they're like, hey, like, yeah, it's a good idea, I'm just going to listen to you?
No, because pricing a house. So great question. So that conversation goes like this. I want to set the expectation with them, right? The expectation is that pricing, where we start in price, is not the end all be all. Starting the list price is to figure out the list price is it's an artwork and it's science, right? Yes, we can run comps. We can look at what houses have sold in the neighborhood. We can figure out what the apples to apples compare like in terms of like your amenities, your kitchen, their kitchen, the size of their bathroom, the condition of the basement, things of that nature. But at the end of the day, what's going to tell us how we're priced is the market and how many showings we're getting, how many offers we're getting, and the average. I bring up the average days on market in Philadelphia. The average days on market, I think, is sitting around 37 days. So if we're seeing that we're getting above that average days on market and we're not getting enough showings or a lot of showings, then we're going to have that conversation about price adjusting.
Yeah, makes sense. So welcome, everyone. Progress with Pagano episode. I don't even know at this point. We're starting over here. But I'm happy to have Mr. Dhan Thomas and Darwin Laureano, who is an awesome guest. Both of them are awesome guests. But Don's been on the show before, and we went over a lot, and we're going to go over even more this time. But Darwin is an awesome guest, and I want to give you, introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about you.
Okay. I got the hot seat now. So hi, everyone. My name is Darwin Laureano. I am a realtor here in the Philadelphia market. We help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate with eXp Realty, part of the Guillermo Salas team. Little bit about me. I am married. I am 25 years old, and I have a son that's 3, almost 4 months old now. So, yeah.
There you go. This guy has it together, man. 25 years old, killing it in the real estate game, married with a family. Big inspiration for a lot of us and a lot of the young entrepreneurs and real estate professionals out there.
Thank you, man.
In the market, killing it. Definitely in there. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So yeah, want to go over a lot of stuff today. Dhan Thomas, this guy is just the killer in the rental game too. I mean, how many doors you at now, Dhan?
I'm at 18 now. Sold 4 last month of August. So
Okay.
Yeah, downsized a little bit. Not downsized, offloaded to reinvest of this upcoming quarter.
What are you gonna do? What are we gonna invest in? What are you thinking?
Oh, more multifamilies and flips for sure.
So it's going right back into real estate.
Oh, 100%. Yep.
Which market are you in? Suburban market or are you in Philly market?
More Philly,
Yeah.
like Northeast, Center City. But I'm not saying no to the suburbans area either because I just did a flip in Trevose,
Okay,
Levittown area.
Mhm.
It wasn't my best flip. but I learned a lot from it. So yeah, wherever I can find a good deal, or whatever I can. Darwin knows. He's trying to get me to 25 now, because he wants me to stop managing properties.
Yes.
So remember our the second show we were on together, Alex. I was saying I was property manager.
Yeah.
I had a lunch with Darwin one time, and he was like, "Yo, you need to stop managing our property.
Yeah.
And keep expanding." But I told him, "Get me to 25. I'll probably think about putting up the hat."
There you go.
But yeah, I'm always looking. I just I walked through 2 properties today. As soon as I left, it went off market. It went under contract.
Oh, wow.
It was like deemed unsafe to enter. Blah blah blah. It had foundation issues, structural issues. The whole facade was off.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm always looking.
So when you're looking to buy, are you looking to buy one at a time, or are you going to do like a portfolio, like a DSCR?
I've never done DSCR. I'm not against it. I'm juggling a few things right now. Because of that, like I'm not looking at a large portfolio. I'm getting it. I'm biting slow. That's all I got to say. I'm getting in maybe 3-4 units, like a standalone building, one project at a time. But as my team is growing, as I'm getting more reputable or maybe more reliable contractor, reliable team, I would like to expand. I mean, the goal is to. The ultimate goal is to be 50, 100 units and just keep doing this every day on a daily basis. But I'm not there yet. But
so there's this buzzword that's in real estate, and all, you know, kind of like online internet, like ways to make money. It's passive income. Do you think managing and dealing with that many doors is passive? Like,
don't get me started.
Give me the take, man. Like,
short answer, no.
Yeah, there's nothing passive about real estate, man. I mean, you can be passive if you don't mind the returns. Let's say you're sitting on like $300,000 in cash. You already find an existing portfolio with already property management in place, and your return is like 5-6%. Yeah, that's passive. You just get a check in the mail. You get a newsletter saying, "Hey, this many repairs were done. This would cost you," and you have enough room, buffer room, based on your your expense and your income to account for that. A guy like me who's buying it himself, doing the stucco repair, doing the paint, the toilet, there is room, but like there's not a lot of room for me to be like, all right, here's a property manager, have them take care of all this. That's what makes it really passive. But I wouldn't say real estate is passive for me, but that's also my choice. If I'm making 15% market cap, if I choose to make 7%, I'm losing that 7%. But then, yeah, it's truly passive. Well, I'm still, I'm 32. I'm young, 32.
yeah.
But I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I don't mind being a little busy with it. But if Darwin gets me 25 units, and and then someone else finds me a 20-unit portfolio out in like Reading, PA, then yeah, it's time to put up the hat and be like, all right, now I can get smaller on the market cap. Not market cap, sorry, the cap rate. I can get smaller on the cap rate and then expand even better or more and more. But as of now, nope, it's not passive.
Like you're looking at like, so Darwin, you told me off camera you grew up in the Reading area.
I did.
So would you ever consider working that area?
Yes,
Okay.
I've done a couple deals in Reading, PA too.
So like interesting,
Definitely.
interesting you said Reading, because I've like seen videos and I've read some things that Reading is kind of getting bought up a little by investments in Philadelphia, in both New York, right? You're kind of seeing an influx of investors there
From New York, yeah, as well.
There's a lot of cash flow, or tell me about like the Reading market.
So I think the thing that makes the Reading market so unique is the fact that you get pretty decent rents, on top of the fact that the barrier to entry to get inside in that market is relatively low compared to somewhere like Philly. So for example, I saw this property. It's on North 13th Street near Albright College, so a pretty decent known college, decent area overall. 1,300 in rent, and I think the house was going for like $80,000.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that is, I think, what makes Reading so attractive to investors.
So going back to Philadelphia, what would you say are the best 3 neighborhoods in Philadelphia to buy an investment property in?
That's a tough question, man.
I'm talking about like, in terms of like cash flow,
on, Darwin, give us
potential
the insider
appreciation. Like, give us some insider scoop. Like, where if you were to like consult with a client who's like, yeah, I'm looking to buy an investment property. What are some areas, top 3 areas you would say, hey, you should consider these, in Philadelphia?
So we're talking top 3 based on like what the cash flow,
Yeah.
Based on the cash
flow, potential appreciation.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to have to go with, because that's where it gets tricky, because if you're talking about cash flow in Philadelphia, one of the best areas to invest would be North Philly. Like, so we're talking like 19140, 19133, like near that Temple area, right? Great place because the barrier to entry is low. Like those houses, average price point 120,000 compared to like if we're talking appreciation, then we're talking like places like Fishtown, Brewery Town, Germantown, near University Ave. Those places you see new development every time you turn your head, you see new development there. So it makes it tough. It's a tough question. You guys, that's a tough question there, Alex.
The one you found for the client for 175, the duplex. I thought that was a great property in the North Philly area. I was North Philly or West Oak Lane. Also, West Oak Lane, I really do think it's a great area to get in. But for Marquetta, where was that?
That was North Philly,
That was North
19132 zip code.
Yeah, 175,000 for a duplex.
Wow. You fully brand new,
renovated. I think that was a great find, by the way, for your client. Kudos to you.
Was it a house hack or just a straight investment?
House hack.
She actually came from our house hack seminar.
Really?
Yeah, she was a client or mutual interested person in our house hack. He was running it. Him and his wife was running it. It was a great find for her, by the way.
Dude, now that they talk about house hacking, that is like the best thing you can do. Like, especially like if you're in your like 20s and you're not married and you don't have kids, like, if you're living right now with roommates, right? And you have, your 2 buddies you went to college with or grew up with or whatever, and there's no reason to not buy a triplex or a quadplex. Like, you guys are renting together, right? And let's just say you all make $60,000 a year. All of your guys' income combined, what's that up? $180 a year. So you have $180,000 salary income, all you guys combined, and you guys have, let's just say, $1,000 each a month in debts, right? And then you buy a quadplex or triplex, and your monthly mortgage payment is, $5,000 a month, and then you rent the 2 other units or the 3rd unit, and you're renting. You know what I mean? Like you're pretty much paying your whole entire rent, and you qualify for $180,000 a year. You know what I mean? FHA loan, $8,000 a month in debt. That's like what, a 50 back end. Just doing some quick math. A little over 50 back end ratio. Debt
and
to
come
income
November
ratio.
15th, you don't even have to worry about that FHA. You can do conventional. Without the self-sufficiency test. I'm just waiting for that.
I know the self-sufficiency is a killer. So essentially, when you have the principal, interest, taxes, insurance. Let's just say it's $5,000 a month, and then you get an appraisal done.
So the appraised rental
appraiser,
income.
the appraiser has to come and be like, okay, this unit is worth $1,500 a month. This unit is worth that a month, and then you add up all those numbers, and then you have to take 25% off the top.
Vacancy.
Yeah, it's called the vacancy factor, right? So you take 25% off the top, so you're left with, let's say it's $5,000 total. You can only use 75% of that $5,000, and if your monthly mortgage payment is $5,000 a month. There's a few options you can do. You can shop homeowners insurance, maybe get that lower. And my homeowners insurance people, sorry, but unfortunately that's a thing we have to do. Or you're gonna have to buy down the rate. Like I had a situation where we had to buy down the rate significantly, like a lot for it to go. But the deal still went. And you'd be careful of self-sufficiency and make sure, like, when that appraisal comes back and you're looking at the rent roll and the rent schedule, tell your loan officer, like, hey, do we meet net self-sufficiency? Because you can get burnt in a deal if that does not work out. But conventional does not require the net self-sufficiency.
November 15th coming through. So just to summarize what Alex said, self-sufficiency as appraised value has to meet your PMI, your PITI, principal, interest, tax, insurance.
Yeah,
a lot of times you find a 2-bedroom like in my scenario, I was in 12th and Ridge. The rent on lease on paper was $1,200, but the appraised value for that 2-bedroom in Center City was $995.
Mm.
So it's 300 short, and that's across. It was a triplex.
Mhm.
So if the appraiser is decreasing per unit $300, that's $900 you can't account for,
Mhm.
and then either your income has to meet that, or you're screwed, or you buy down the rate like Pagano said,
Or you try to do a rebuttal with the appraiser.
Mm.
you can appeal. You go through
try
that
to get
whole
an appeal.
process.
Mhm.
Doesn't always work.
Doesn't always work, but that is an option. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone
Even if you
gets
get a little more, I mean, you're talking like even if you get an extra $200 a month,
Mhm.
you're talking about a quarter of a point almost, or
Mhm.
so it still saves you money. It's
But-
worth it. The rebuttal is
Mm.
it's always worth it to give it a go.
Yeah.
Because-
negotiate and appeal.
Yeah.
And then if you're working with the right people, if you're working with experienced people like Darwin, if you're working with experienced loan offers like Alex Pagano, you have nothing to worry about in that sense, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because these guys been through the ringer a few times.
Yeah.
So they already know ahead of time, all right, what to expect and what the resolution is. And when you work with inexperienced people is when you don't have a resolution in front of you, where like you just get nonstop bad news, bad calls. But I'm pretty sure you have a scenario where your loan officer called you with a bad news and then came you with a solution, or like you guys collectively came up with a solution and get to the closing table. Pretty sure that's the same for you.
Can't tell you how many times I'm like a magician, man. You come in,
Gotta get
come with the
creative.
problem, like, all right, we'll fix it. We got it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't always work out like that, and that's part of being in the industry. That's learning and getting experience, and that's why it's important to work with people who do have that experience under their belt and have been Rocky Balboa in the ring and taken a few hits. You know what I mean? Came out the other end. So, so what do you guys think about these high rates? Like, what do you think? How do you think it impacts the market? You think it's a good thing, a bad thing? What do you guys think about it?
As an investor, I'm hoping sellers, or I hope there's a market correction a little bit. As an investor, as a loan officer, I always say buy if you're mentally and emotionally ready for it. Don't wait for the interest rate to drop.
Mhm.
Because you can always refi down the line, and you're never keeping the mortgage for 30 years. And if you're house hacking, you have roommates paying for it, your interest rate anyway, 8-9% or 7%, whatever the rate is always going to seem high, because there's always a low period and there's always going to be a higher period.
Mhm.
So, the from Shark Tank, Barbara Corrin, I just saw a video 2 days ago. She was saying only way to get a leg up in your 20s and 30s is just buying a piece of real estate.
Mhm.
By buying a piece of real estate at 3% down, 5% down, and you let it appreciate over time, now you can either offload that or rent it out. But then now you can buy something even bigger. By waiting, you just I wouldn't say, yeah, I guess you wasted, but you just let the property appreciate value. Let's say you waited 5 years. That single family home in the low to moderate income area was $80,000, and you waited 5 years. Now you want to go buy it, it's 110, 120.
It's true. Yeah, that's a great point.
Mm.
Like
My
if you're-
first home was $80,000. It's now worth 110. It's about to be free and clear in I think 2 years.
Wow.
Mm.
First home I bought was only 8 years ago. It was not in the best neighborhood. It wasn't it didn't have marble tiles, wall to wall. None of that. It was a shitty 3-bedroom house, 1 bath. But it was my first home.
Mhm.
Mm.
And I started house hacking from there. And now if I wanted to get rid of it, I can easily make my money back and then some.
Right. That's power of real estate.
Power
Yeah.
real estate.
Yeah.
So you asked me what my take was on the interest rates.
Yeah.
Alex.
Do you think it's good for the market, man?
Here's what I think. I think we should get me a new president so he can change his interest rates. Man. That's my take, man. No, I don't think the interest rates is good for the market. If
Yeah.
I'm being honest. I think that, just for example, the statistics that I saw was for the month of September, year over year, home demand dropped 49% in the Philadelphia metro market area. That's a huge dip in home demand.
Mhm.
And I can't think of another reason as to why home demand dropped that much if it wasn't because buyers are seeing that these interest rates are at 7.2, higher than where they've been for 20, 23
Mhm.
years, something like that. So No. My take is I can't wait till interest rates drop so that we get we get one more we I can't wait for interest rates to drop so that so that people can finally move on with their
Mhm.
lives, because there's a lot of people that are locked in to that 3% interest rate. There's a lot of people that want to move on. They started a family and they feel tight. They want to be able to, just find the better neighborhood, find the right neighborhood for schools for their kids, for their families.
Mhm.
And I think that interest rates being out where they're at is holding them back and holding us as a society and as a nation back. That's my
I
take
feel
on
that. I think like having those low rates. Let's face it, interest rates were never supposed to be that low.
No.
Mm.
Like, why would you move? You have a 3% interest rate. Like, yeah, you might be minorly inconvenienced. Your life might be completely different than what it was 3-4 years ago when you got into that rate, or not even 2 years ago. But why are you gonna sell? You're gonna hold on to that property, and that's what I feel like the thing that's happening is more people are turning to renting. There's gonna be less home buyers, and I've seen a statistic. We are how many units behind year over year that we did not build houses or create a supply. We are way behind on the amount of supply needed for the
4
demand
million.
in this country. Yeah, it's
Jeez.
it's crazy. So like,
And you want to tack on something onto that? The
Yeah.
fact that you just said you're like 4 million units behind in building, right?
Mhm.
Now at 3% because of COVID, you made accidental landlords. People who bought at 3 or 4%
Mm.
can't afford or don't want to sell their building,
Mhm.
or because they're at 3 or 4%, now they can rent it.
yeah,
So you already
Mhm.
have a tight squeeze with low inventory.
Mm.
Then you got people who bought homes at 3, 4%. Now they don't want to sell because why would they even sell? Because now they can cash flow.
yep,
Year after year, rent's only going to go up. Cost of living's going to go up. Everything's just going to only go up.
yeah,
And because of that, it's going to be even a tighter squeeze on the market.
yeah. I saw some crazy video. It was like during COVID when everyone was working in New York City and they went remote. You said these people move all over the country into
Yeah.
these small like rural towns and stuff, and they like way overpaid for all these properties.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, remote work is getting more and more scarce, right? I mean, it's still obviously a big part of a lot of companies,
Like
but they're at least requiring people to
Yeah.
come in a couple days a week.
Yeah.
A lot of people are back to 5 full days a week.
Mm-hmm.
So these people with these huge New York salaries bought these properties in small town America. Next thing you know, they're getting called back to work and they're taking losses. Like, have you guys seen that at all?
Mhm.
That's crazy because like you go to a place like Philadelphia or like a bigger metro area, you're not going to run into these issues, but you're going to go to these COVID towns
Mhm.
or these
Super rural,
remote towns.
Midwest, like middle of nowhere.
Yeah, they're beautiful, like scenic, amazing
Oh,
places
yeah.
to live. I'm wondering too, like how that's going to affect the economy in these smaller places because, a lot of this stuff is localized.
Mm-hmm.
What we can say is all over the country we have a housing shortage, right? There's more demand than supply, and you're talking about, highest interest rates in 30 years. This is a shock because we've been so used to having under 5% interest rates for so long
Mm.
that people are like, oh my gosh, like, the world's falling apart. Like the rates are high. Everything is going down, and this is the point that I like, why we do this stuff. We talk about it because if you're ready, willing, able to buy, then you should do it. But also there's so many programs that can help you buy.
Mm.
Like Darwin, tell me, like when you run into like buyers who let's just say they don't have much savings, like what's kind of your course of action? Like what do you tell them? Like how do you try to get them like, okay, well, like do you say like, hey, I have lenders? Like how do you go about that?
Yep, exactly. So when I have someone come and they're trying to get pre-approved, they're trying to figure out what the next step is. I'm like, okay, the first step is to figure out where you are in terms of your what you qualify for, right? So the next step after having the conversation of figuring out what location it is that you're trying to move to, the next step after that is getting you over to have a conversation with a lender to figure out what your max budget is, and that's all based off of which your credit, your income, that
Mhm.
good stuff. So what I tried, and then on top of that, what we try to always kind of like hint at, because I'll be honest, like I don't know if somebody's going to qualify for the grant, right? So what I try to do is you might even I'll try to hint it in there that like you might even be able to qualify for grants that are available in the city and in PA, but let me get you connected with a lender who has more information about those grants so that we can figure out where you are in terms of your pre-approval and your qualifications. So Alex, let me ask you this. Alex, what grants are available for these people with low down payment savings?
Dude, I love that because like sometimes like I'll get a buyer, right? Like and like yeah, like I'm doing their mortgage application. Okay, like what's your who's your employer? How much what's your salary? Like, well, I make 70,000 a year. And then I'm like, all right, can I pull a credit report? Sure. Do a soft credit check, come back, 650, 700, whatever, right? As long as it's above 650, you can do a lot. And then, all right. So you have 70,000 a year. You have, a 680 credit score. How much money do you have in the bank right now? Does this, how are you going to do the down payment? You have checking, savings. Well, I have $2,000 right now and I'm working for my savings. I'm like, okay. And I know they have good credit. I know they have good income. So I was thinking, okay, what are some county level grants, city level grants, and state level grants that they could qualify for? So I have their credit, I have their income, right? Because you make too much, you're not going to qualify for most of them. And there's no minimum income amount. If you qualify for the house, you qualify for the house. But you make too much, you're not going to qualify for it. And then you have credit requirements for some of these. You have to have a certain credit threshold. So I start looking at what they can qualify for. And I'm like, all right, well, K-Fit might be a great program, or Philly First Door might be a good program. So you really have to analyze situation by situation. But we have like loan officers like Dhan Thomas handing out like high-paying salaries and grants out to borrowers. you got to tell me, man, like because Don specializes in a lot of these. I think he can kind of agree to what I'm saying. He's like, not everyone's going to qualify for it with a state grant. You're going to have like city level might be a little better for them. Like, how do you do it? Do you do similar?
So I do the same thing what you said earlier.
Yeah.
I look at their applications. That's why I love when clients just put in, when they're looking for a home or investment property, whatever it is, put in an application with the lender. Call a lender and get your application in, because that will really determine where you stand. And then with me, when they put an application, I look at credit score. If they're above 680, and if they're single and they're making less than 90, Philly First. If they're making a little over 90 but less than 110, 120, whatever, they get K-Fit. And then I'm lucky enough to say that I got almost $79,000 in grants across 6 clients. That's about $15,000, $16,000 a piece. And some of them actually bought a duplex with it. So, and that's all legal. That's all by guidelines by the state. And I'm now in my pipeline under contract for another $30,000 more for 2 more folks, single family homes. So by end of this year, I've helped my clients get about $100,000 in grants across 8 people. I'm very happy to say that because 3 of them became landlords because of that. And it's all through because they, talked to a lender, and that lender helped them figure out. They did not know about these programs. I kid you not, like 99% of these people, I think only one person came asking, hey, I saw this on like Pagano's show about the grants. Do you know more about it? I was like, yeah, I can definitely give you more information on it. So then other than that, no one else knew. It was me pointing it out to them. So if your lender is not talking to you about grants, if your lender is not talking to you about buy downs, lenders or realtors, if they're not talking to you about these type of things, you should really reconsider your working with, because these are missed opportunities. There's so much free money out there. My first house was a grant that my realtor told me about. 8 years ago, my realtor told me, hey, if you don't have the down payment money, there's a local credit bank is giving it out. And I left closing with $100 in my pocket. And the loan officers even said, I've never been to closing where the buyer is leaving with money. So the grants are there's a lot of grants out there. But only determines what you qualify. And some you can stack on top of each other. You can do the DC,
Yeah,
the
but
Philly First.
It's a city.
City one, you
funded.
can stack with the Urban Door, but K-Fit is a standalone. But more than grants, there's also like KHL, Keystone Home Loan,
Mhm.
which is no grant, but like super subsidized rate. If the market's at 7, that's at 6. So sometimes I always break down a couple scenarios and let the borrower pick. If you do have the down payment money and you want the lower rate, go with the lower rate. Because sometimes K-Fit is higher than the Keystone Home Loan.
Mhm.
So you might be paying $100 more, but you just got $17,000 grant money.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
my closing that's happening in November, knock on wood, I drew out the scenario. If you do KHL, Keystone Home Loan, your rate's at 6.5, but you need $30,000 at closing. You do K-Fit, your rate's at 7.375, but you only need $12,000 at closing.
Mm.
$139 a month different, $1,700 annual, $1,700 annual difference. You will break even in 11 years. And I told them Keystone Home Loan or the K-Fit is forgivable in 10 years. So you actually, in this specific scenario, it is more advantageous to get the higher interest rate, get that free money. It's your starter home. You're going to be there for 5 to 7 years anyway. Pay for the higher interest rate.
Mhm.
He's like, "Are you sure? I always heard get the lowest interest rate." I was like, "But there's $17,000 on the table. Get the free money." It's like, so what? You're paying $139 a month more. That's $1,700 a year. So when I broke down the math and showed him on Excel, it's just literally like you just got to pick whatever is easier for you.
Right.
So, Alex, I got a question because you mentioned
Yeah.
some county loans or some county grants
Mhm.
that I'm not too versatile or familiar
Mhm.
with. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like when we were like like Philadelphia, like is one city, one county, so a lot of them are gonna be the same. But you
Okay.
have Chester County, Berks County has a grant,
Mm.
Delaware County has a grant. So a lot of these counties have specific grants if you work those counties. Some they give like $10,000, and then a lot of them you can see if they're eligible through the county websites. So if you have any suburban buyers, that's a great option to take a look at are the county grants.
I have 2 suburban buyers that might be looking in 30 to 60 days that I think are looking in, they're looking in Berks County. So
Yeah,
definitely want to talk to you about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, we'll definitely be able to help you out. So like a lot of the stuff we talk about the podcast too is like obviously we have a huge real estate focus. You know, we're in this line of work, but also it's called progress because I feel like to make progress financially and with your career, you also have to have the right mindset and you also have to have, you know, goals in mind. So like a lot of stuff I like to talk about too is like how do you adjust your mindset for success and growth? Because no, like I feel like there's so much negative stuff. You turn on the TV, you go on your phone, you look down, negativity sells.
Mm.
And that's the most disappointing part about, unfortunately, where we live in, where it's all about views, clicks, likes, negativity, controversy sells. And that's what's getting the attention of the audience. But, you know, you really have to, if you spend a lot of times on platforms and media, you really have to take the time to take a step back and do the right things. And also, I think you could use social media to your advantage and to also look at things that are more motivating and they're going to teach you things rather than just looking at all the negativity constantly.
Hmm.
But I don't know, I feel like there's like no escape from it. Man. Like I'm on my phone, I get a notification or I get something that's negative all the time from news and media.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of talk about for me how I kind of like escape the negativity is like I try to one for me is the gym. That's kind of like my de-stressor.
Mhm.
So I'll wake up 6:30, probably be at the gym from like 7 to 8. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just first focus on myself. I'm also this may spark up some controversy, but I'm Christian, so believe in Jesus,
Mhm.
my Bible. That helps a lot. Just kind of, just block out the things that I feel like are just irrelevant, because there's a lot of things, like you said, negativity sells.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of that negativity is just to trying to throw you off guard, to keep you enslaved in what they want to feed you. And I'm a big believer that, yeah, there's something better, there's something greater. And I myself I'm not going to be able to overpower this world. So I need something greater that's greater than me uh, to be able to overpower that. And then my family, I try to stay with him. You know, I got a son. He's like 3.5 years old. So he kind of brightens my day, just pure joy. I look at him, smile, he smiles, and it's just a beautiful connection. And then my wife too, just try to take her out, try to please her, make her happy.
Mhm.
And then reading, that helps as well. You know, trying to just, because there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of negativity in this world that tries to throw you off your game. And I think that's not okay. Like, we have a higher purpose, we have a higher calling, and we got to stay in line with what we're trying to do. How about you, Don?
I mean, I have a lot of my notifications turned off, to be honest. I actually have, yeah, I don't watch any local news. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't watch any local news. I don't have any subscriptions or anything like that. Even on like Instagram, like things content I don't like, I just hit not interested, or for ads, not interested. But then also stress reliever is family time for sure. And then and being like unplugged, like I can on weekends or on trips and stuff, being just unplugged from the internet. I just did 5 days overseas with my wife. Yeah, it was beautiful. I didn't even know there was a whole war going on, like a country next door. Until my mom called, and she's like, "Hey, are you guys okay? The war just broke off." I was like, "No, we're just in the mountains, chilling, just hanging out, enjoying the Alps." It closed the deal from there. It's like I'm as much detached, just send a few emails, but not looking at local news, not looking at the world news. There is a lot of negativity. You don't hear. Did you hear about the peaceful guy on 8th Street? Happy man? He's not
No.
on the local news. But you hear about the robbery on 8th Street because
That's true.
that's what sells. Happiest man on earth, peaceful man who's by himself, just chilling, hanging out. He's not getting any attention. He probably doesn't want any attention.
No.
Doesn't want any attention. But that doesn't sell. You're right. And knowing that bad news sells, and there's a media out there trying to sell you this bad news, and as the viewer or the audience, do I want to buy this? Do I want to partake in it? The same bad news about negativity is also telling you real estate crisis, mortgage crisis, 8%, who can buy, blah, blah, blah. That's also a lot of negative news out there.
That is.
People bought 30 years ago at 9, 10, 15%. Granted, the
Mm.
purchase price was a lot less, but if this is the new norm, in 15 years, you're going to look back and be like, damn, I should have bought in 15 years ago. I should have taken that K-Fit. Should have taken the Keystone Home Loan. Taken all the government opportunities that was available and got in at that time. Because you wait 15 years, you can mark my word on this. 15 years from now, a North Philly home is not going to be worth more in 15 years than what it is today. It's not going to go negative. It's not going to go zero. It's not going to go 10,000. If it's worth $80,000 today, if it's worth $100,000 today, in 15 years, it's going to be worth more than $100,000. It has to. That's just a normal course of things. So
Appreciation is amazing.
Amazing. And then to summarize the negativity, just to turn off a lot of things. To literally turn off notifications. Like, I have my phone on Do Not Disturb mode 24/7. This is like, and a lot of my apps 24/7. You know that.
He's not lying.
He's just,
I love
That's
it.
good, man. Like,
why be bothered?
more
you
people
know?
should do that. I should,
Yeah.
like, even I'm guilty of getting warped into it. But I feel like, especially these last few years were hard. Like, think about it. Like, you have a global pandemic. You have so much uncertainty in the world. You have the highest depression rates. You have, record high debt. You have increasing anxiety from young people because they're not able to live, and they don't have families, and they're not able to see their friends. And you have all this stuff that's happened in these last few years. And it's like, well, you have all this negativity in all this world, and you have to stay grounded. It's tough, man. It's tough, but I think positivity, I think having those outlets and really focusing on, trying to tune as much as that out as possible, but also keeping yourself disciplined with what keeps you grounded, whether it's your faith or working out, family, whatever it is, you need to do that. You need to set time for it. You need to make that a priority, and then everything else will fall in place, and you will be happier, and you'll feel way better.
So here's a saying that goes that I've heard around, and I want to take both of your takes on it. Is like, what are your thoughts on like acting based on how you feel or just acting to change your feelings? Because what I keep like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I've been having this dilemma with me personally. Is like,
Mhm.
I may feel a certain way, but I know that if I do this action, I'm gonna my feeling towards it is gonna change.
Mm. I think I catch myself in that sometimes. Like maybe if I am like just feeling real tired, right? I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to sit home and just want to relax. But there's something really exciting going on. Maybe it's like a game on the TV. It's the weekend, or like something going on in town. It's like, all right, if I go out and I get there, I know I will feel better. And if I just stay home, maybe maybe I will like get lonely or whatever it is. You're just gonna stay home, right? So I don't know. I think that doing that definitely works. That's kind of where I find myself in that situation, is like not really necessarily fear of missing out, but like, hey, I have nothing better to do. Even though I might not feel like it necessarily in the moment, if I go do it and I go be a part of it, I will feel better. Um, I don't know if that answers that.
No, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
For me, depends on the scenario. I mean, depends on the case, what the situation is. Uh, Taking a deep breath and just giving myself a quick 30 seconds to reevaluate, not acting on my first emotion or my
Mm.
instant emotion. Because in my younger 20s, I think I act a lot on my initial instinct. Oh, if that's what was pissed me off, I should feel pissed off. But now I'm like, does it need to really piss me off, or can I just let it go? Let time takes its course. And I hate to keep coming back on real estate, but what I learned in the real estate really mimics my personal life too. Is like, something's about to piss me off, give it time. If I know the scenario is going to piss me off, give it time. Is my feeling going to appreciate or depreciate? Is my anger level going to appreciate or depreciate? So if I take a deep breath, give it 30 seconds, go do something else, and then if I forget about it, I depreciate it. It's gone.
Yeah.
But if it still makes me angry, then figure out a solution, a resolution. Figure out, all right, do I need to get to that spot to make me feel better? Do I need to make a trip out? Do I have to go see somebody or sit down with them, talk? Whatever needs to be done, go take care of it. But if I only feel about that after like 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later. So my business lifestyle is now is taking over my personal lifestyle, and in a good way, where like giving it time. And I'm not trying to be cliche here, like legitimately just give it time. Because now I'm pretty sure you guys are all in the scenario where we're busy at home, we're busy in our businesses, we have our family, and we have our social life to keep up with. And then we have, we're all Philly sportsmen, right? We got all these games to watch with your friends. So how are you managing your time?
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully you're like doing really great right now. But like now, it's really a battle between time management. I think it's more than ever. Like even we talked about earlier, this is not passive. What we're doing is not passive, right? It's
No.
not a 9 to 5 thing. We gave up our 9 to 5 to be our own bosses, but it's a 24/7 thing now.
Well, that's what I feel like. What you said, like property management, and you're like, great point. Get a 25 property. It's like delegating, like delegation. Like you get up to a certain point, you scale your business to a certain point. Those tasks, like your hourly rate. Like, okay, if I make 10,000, 20,000, whatever this month, right? You divide that by the amount of hours, and you say, okay, this is my hourly rate. Or you take it by each quarter, and then you're like, all right, is it worth it to pay someone, $20, $15, $10 an hour to do this task, or am I just going to take on this task? And you can kind of figure out things out like that. But like, once we, get to that business or that point of business to hire and delegate, what I mean? That's really when you can start like freeing up some time. It's like that initial grind, that initial push. But, you know what I mean? But I think it's funny because you said like to the point of, when you bring it back to real estate, sales like can really like get your emotions like, dude, like, I don't know if you've ever recalled, like, a lot of, like, loan officers, like, you're prospecting agents to work with, like, you think you're a good fit. So I'll call, agents. I'm like, all right, this guy seems pretty cool, or this gal seems pretty cool. Someone I might want to work with, someone who's local, whatever the case might be. You call, and, dude, sometimes you catch people on their bad day. And when you do cold calling specifically, you catch people on their bad day, catch them on a good day, you catch them on in between. But, like, dude, I've had people, like, say, like, not curse, but, like, rude on the phone, and or have dealt with situations where I literally had like situations where people have yelled and screamed at me on the phone, on all things that have all been fixed and everything was fine, or whatever the case might be. But like I feel like sales and real estate really can teach you how to control and how to really understand your emotions.
It's a humbling experience. If you haven't done sales, it's a humble. I always say if you haven't done sales and if you haven't worked at like fast food restaurants, customer service jobs, if you haven't done these two jobs, you're a different person. But if you have done it, if you've done customer service, you treat waiters differently. You treat the bus guy differently, the bus driver. You just treat people differently. And I think more and more I got into sales, more and more I got into real estate. I worked at Dunkin' before. Like I've done the customer service job. It makes you more humble. It makes you more forgiving. If the waiter forgets my order, messes it up, or brings out the whatever, like different thing. I was like, there's like 100 people behind there working, you know? And they're all probably not on their best day, you know? If someone messes up, I'm not trying to add more oil to the fire back there. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, sales is a very humbling job.
I wouldn't change it though, dude. I love it. Like,
yeah,
there's no other job in this world that pays more than, entrepreneurship and sales.
Would you say sales is the greatest job on earth?
Absolutely. Everything is sales though. Think about it. Like if you're in any industry, any field, you're selling yourself. Like you could be in tech and your resume and your cover letter and you're calling hiring managers. You could be in any line of work and you're selling yourself. But sales specifically when you're selling either, a financial service like mortgages or you're selling houses like real estate, it's a whole different breed of sales, but sales are all similar. And like I want to talk to you too, because like we were having a little conversation about for sale by owner, like cold calls. And we were just talking about cold calls. So like, I don't know, like what's your strategy going to do? It's like I've heard of this thing like the Jordan Belfort, like you sell in circles, right?
That's how I met this guy. A cold call.
What did you say when you first met me? You said I was rugged.
I was like, he's a rugged dude. So my strategy on for sale by owners, I honestly,
you got to tell the story now how you guys met.
Definitely. Okay, so I'll get it. So me and him met. So I was calling for sale by owners within my area up in that northeast Philadelphia, and I make this call. I think it was a Friday, and it was a Friday in the morning, and I call this guy. I'm like, hey, my name is Darwin. I'm a local real estate agent here in the area. So your property was up for sale. He's like, yes, it is. I'm also a loan officer. And then he starts explaining to me how he's a loan officer, an investor, and he's trying to sell this house on his own, but he's also trying to market his loan officer his services. And I was like, okay, that's great. I mean, I'm always looking to talk to loan officers to figure out what their niche is, what they bring to the table, how we can do business together, and if I could help you get a listings on I could help you sell your house and get a listing with that, as well as a partner as a loan officer. I'm game. So he was like, okay, let's set up a meeting Friday. No, it was Friday. We set up a meeting the next day.
Saturday morning, 9 a.m.
Local Starbucks. Man was waiting with his coffee offered. Super nice guy when I met him. And we just kind of were just talking it up. And it was like, it just was a conversation that just flowed very well. And that's kind of like how we started doing business together, man. Yeah. That's my aspect of it. How was it on your end? How was I as a random person? I was just, cold calling a real estate agent.
So my strategy here is like for sale by owner. It was wintertime. It was February. So houses are not, in my opinion, wasn't going to sell fast. In February, March is now where like houses are going to sell. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna list it myself for sale by owner. I've never done this before, where I list on Zillow for sale by owner. I've done where off market people came and I sold without agents. I've done that, but this is the first time we're like, let me list it. And I got maybe like 100, 200 agents that called. But what differentiated Darwin from it was when as soon as I said, yeah, I'm not ready to list, I'm a loan off, they'll just hang up.
Wow, really?
So think about it. 6 months ago, a year ago, when I started as a loan officer, I'm cold calling realtors to get to know them, right? And maybe I'm catching him on a good day or bad day, but I'm getting turned down. I can't even get this guy's coffee. I can't even get down to have a coffee with me. They're always busy. They're like brushing me off.
Mhm.
As soon as I list it for sale by owner, now I got 100 local agents calling me. All of a sudden, like,
Should I list my house?
just go listen. You're gonna meet so many agents. Yeah, trust me. And they're upselling. They did 130 million last year. They did like 28 units this 1 month. They got all these crazy numbers. Great. It's like, hey, do you want to meet in person? Are you gonna list with me? Oh, can we meet in person? No, click. And Darwin was one of the only one person that of 100 calls I got, I kid you not, to say, yeah, I'll meet with you. I have no problem. Saturday, yeah, I got to hit the gym, but I'll be there. And then we met, and then we connected very well. We worked on 2 deals, and one got the grant. And
both of them got the grants.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Both of them, yeah.
They both got grant money and first time home buyer grant, and yeah, and I think it was a great thing I did. Great thing. I'm glad he met, but it's also being in this field is being open to conversations and reciprocating as well.
Yeah.
The fact that like he called, I was rugged because you probably were like the 80th person call that day, and then I was like very sure with them.
Yeah.
But then he still gave me a chance, and after that meeting, I was like, oh, we both mutually benefited from that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and back to like my strategy, how you were asking on for sale by owners, I just try to be a person. You know what I mean? Like if I understand that this person has a need as a for sale by owner, as an expired, like this person has a need, and my job is to try to sell my services as to how I can fulfill those needs, and I do that by just asking them questions. And he had a need as he's a loan officer. He wanted to market his brand as a loan officer. So I was like, heck yeah, that's something that I do. I sell houses, so I can definitely help you with that aspect and to help you sell your house as well. So like that's how I attack it, just helping someone fill their need, and just being of service, just giving as much as I possibly can. Like I'm not calling you to be like, hey, no, you shouldn't be listing your house because 85% of houses sell on the market. That's
Right.
not the strategy that
People do that. You'd be really
do, man.
surprised. You see agents talking down to you and belittling you, and they don't know my track record, and they don't need to know, but they don't know my track record in terms of like what I have sold off market with agents, without agents. They don't know anything like that. They don't know how many doors I have, which, and again, that's all, on one thing, but they're really just talking down. And people who talk down like that, I don't understand how they're sustainable.
You think it's a mindset adjustment they need?
Oh, they need a huge one. They probably got lucky during COVID and they probably did like 10 homes, and now they're like, top 1% realtor, multi-million-dollar producer, blah, 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 blah. But like, now we're 8-9%. Let me see who's doing it.
Realtors, we do love you. It's not all you. It's a very small percentage.
I got a list. Not just kidding.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I do want to talk about quick a few different things. So here's a strategy that I want to talk about that you guys are probably seeing, or these temporary buy downs. You guys been people asking about them? Like I feel like people ask about them, but they don't really understand what it is. And how do I like to explain it is, okay, the seller has this much amount that they're going to give you. They're going to give you a credit. And usually this is a percentage of the sale. FHA, you can get 6% of seller credit. And then on a conventional loan, you get 3%. And this is essentially a credit that you get at closing that's going to help go towards your closing costs. So a few things you can use this credit for. You can use this for your closing costs, your down payment. But you can also use this credit to buy down your interest rate or to do what's called a temporary buy down. And they come in 3 forms. There's a 3-2-1 buy down, there's a 2-1 buy down, and a 1-year buy down. And what you're doing with these temporary buy downs is you're temporarily buying down the interest rate. And then after these years, they're going to go back up. So let's just say the rates today are 8%. Right? The first year, you're going to get 3% lower than the current rate. So it would be 5%. After the second year, it's going to go up to 6%. Then the third year, it's going to go up to 7%. And after the third full year, it will go up to 8%. And you can refinance at any time. Obviously, you can't really refinance until 6 to 12 months after your loan closes, but you can refinance any time. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are asking about these. But also, there's this really cool program, and I know we talked about programs earlier. You can buy a home with 0% down. You don't have to be a veteran or in a rural area. You can buy a home. There's an FHA product where you can buy a house with literally 0% down.
What's this product called?
Yeah.
So
telling
there's a
us.
few
Explain.
there's a few lenders that offer it. We offer it at my company, but you can essentially get an FHA loan. You're going to get a second lien against the house. That's going to cover your down payment. So the minimum 3.5%. The lender's going to cover that with a second lien against the home. So you're going to have your first mortgage, which is the 96.5 percent of the value, right? Your LTV. And then the rest, the 3.5%, is going to be on a second lien. And you can buy this home with zero out of pocket besides closing costs. And then you're like, well, if I can't afford 3.5% down, I don't know if I'm going to afford closing costs. You can get full seller's assist. So you can get 6%, and that can cover all your closing costs. So as long as you have the minimum credit score requirement, you can do this. It's called a no income FHA, or I'm sorry, a no down payment FHA loan.
You heard that. Buy real estate right now. 0% down.
Especially on FHA, you can go up to 4 units too.
Yeah.
So you can essentially buy a quadplex, cash flow with 0% down, but you cover your own closing costs. That's a game changer.
Game changer.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And people are still waiting.
Dude, people are still waiting. But yeah. So I guess I want to wrap it up. How'd you guys get in real estate? Like, was it just like one day you're like, oh, I see all these realtors making all this money, I want to go do that? Or was it like we're like all these people making these TikToks and YouTube videos about investment properties, and you're like, oh, I need that? How'd you guys get started with this stuff?
So for me, it was after college. So COVID, I graduated Temple 2020. COVID hit March 13th or March 18th. I had a sales job back in Tampa, Florida. Job got retracted last minute. It was like a logistics company. They was like, okay, yeah, we're putting a hold on our incoming onboarding employees because we don't know what's going to happen with the market, being that there's a pandemic happening at this current moment. So I was job searching. I had an interview with a commercial real estate agent, and he was telling me, just kind of explaining his day to day, what he does, his lifestyle, also that he was making good money. And I kind of, when I heard real estate, it brought me back to my roots of the Dominican Republic, where my dad is like he's a developer. He develops properties, and at the age of like 12 years old, I was like just walking these properties with my dad, just watching him tell the architects and the contractors, hey, like this is where we're gonna do this, is where they're looking at plans and stuff, and I'm like, that's it, I'm sold. Real estate is for me. And I got my license, and boom, here we are.
Boom.
The rest is history.
Yeah, similar background. Pops wasn't a developer, but Pops parents had like a 10-unit apartment in the Northeast. They had some land back in India they developed. So real estate has always been like a big hot topic at like family dinners or like and I've seen the benefits of real estate in the family. And then coming out of college, I just didn't want to pay rent anymore. And then just talked to a realtor who put me with the lender and the grant program that I took on. And then once I got my first house, I was like, I can do this rinse and repeat. And then 8 years later, X amount of units managing. Then 2 years ago, became a loan officer because I was naturally already helping people on how to look, find, and how to do the numbers for it. So I was like, might as well get the license. And then the rest was history. And now I feel it's not honestly a fulfilling job when you're handing someone their first set of keys. And you're handing their first set of keys along with either some grant, some assistance, or some buy down, or some, anything to help them. And then hearing these testimonials were like, hey, I wouldn't have been able to cross this line if it wasn't for the team they worked with. They're loan officer, they're realtors. And hearing that, it's very special.
To add on top of what Don had said, what I love about this real estate game is the fact that once you hand that person that set of keys, you know that in 5 to 10 years, real estate is going to appreciate. The asset's going to go up in value. And you know that in 5 to 10 years, they're going to be able to have a large chunk of equity and wealth built into that property that they can then go use and leverage to either buy more real estate or invest in stocks, whatever the case that they want to do. But they have the opportunity to change the lives of themselves and their future generation. And that, like, seeing that possibility and doing that for someone is like, oh, okay, that feels good right here.
Yeah.
It's like I'm doing something, you know what I mean, that can change the world and make the world a better place. So how about you? How'd you get into
Yeah, so I actually have a very similar background to Don, kind of. My parents invested in real estate. They are also realtors. They had a big RE/MAX franchise, and I grew up in a real estate office. So you catch me in there, I'd be in an empty office. I'd be picking up the phone, pretending I'm on a sales call. Like, I don't know. It's like one of those things, like, I've always kind of been into it, real estate, sales, and I've always loved it. So, like, when in high school, I got really involved with like junior achievement and entrepreneurship stuff, and then went to college for business, graduated, and immediately started for a luxury home builder. I started with Toll Brothers. You guys probably know Toll Brothers, in-house financing with them, and then went on my own, and I've been loving it ever since. Love this stuff, man.
Love it.
The fact that all three of us can say there's no other field we want to be in, it speaks volume, you know?
Yeah.
Someone who's 8 years, 5 years, whatever, 6 years, you know, collectively, it speaks volume in what we're doing.
I feel like sometimes I get those thoughts, like, man, like, become a Navy SEAL or something.
Firefighter.
yeah. Like, you'll get that, like, those thoughts, but yeah.
But no, yeah. Then the next day we're not in the Navy SEALs. You know, you're not putting out fire. We're right back at what we're doing, and we're building. And time is the biggest factor. If you invest your time in this as what we do, or on the other side as a buyer or an investor, you put time into it. You put time into anything, you will see some growth. You see some growth within you and in the piece of asset you bought.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
I want to say thank you, Alex, on letting us come on your show again.
Anytime. You guys are always
Alex.
invited. Yeah.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
And thank you, Don, for the invite, bro.
Oh, no problem.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
Thank
Awesome.
you, Alex.
All right, well, thank you guys for tuning in. And that's a wrap. Hit us up on social media. Shout your guys' stuff out.
At Darwin Laureano.
Lending John.
Lending John. Cool. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and that's a wrap.
Take care.